Right, so Keir Starmer has put out a tweet saying he would restore trust in politics and promote local democracy, advertising a column he'd written in the centrist Guardian. Yet to say that, to write it after everything he's said and done, the brass neck of the guy really is staggering. He must think we're either all stupid or just haven't noticed that after 2 and a bit years of lying through his teeth to us all about everything he stood for, as well as rigging local selection processes for elections up and down the country to deliver his preferred outcomes. But a great many of us are onto him. And for those that haven't cottoned on yet, allow me to elaborate a little with a few examples. There can be no honesty brought back into politics while Starmer remains a politician. He started with lies from the off, lied to be elected Labour leader. He set out his stall on 10 pledges which remain up on his campaign website, every one of which he has broken without exception. He said he wanted to strengthen trade union ties, but won't support striking workers, nor the unions themselves, already having driven the Bakers Union, a founding trade union of the Labour Party, built by trade unionism as it was, to disaffiliate completely. He's selling himself to Tory donors instead of embracing his party's founders and founding principles, apparently having instructed MPs to bring in at least 3 new donors each, promising what in return? At least with the trade unions, you know what they want in exchange for their cash. Better pay, terms and conditions, along with support for their members. And clearly, that isn't the same goal as Starmer has in mind for Labour going forwards. Starmer stood on a platform of renationalisation and lied, stood on a platform of wanting to reverse Brexit, destroying his own party's chances going into the 2019 general election, we might all remember, handing Boris Johnson a massive majority as Mr. Oven-ready deal, and then lied again afterwards, saying he wants to make it work. Now, he's even ruling out rejoining the single market, when once he said it was critical to the economy and to jobs. But he got what he wanted after all at the end of the day, didn't he? The Labour leadership. He stood on a platform of fixing the NHS. He lied. He wants to keep private provision and utilise it even more. He stood on a platform of improving migrants' rights. He lied. He's now anti-migrant workers coming into the NHS, where they are sorely missed and sorely needed. He's only happy if they want to come in and work in factories. But of course, it was Corbyn who was the racist, wasn't it? He's even had Nigel Farage praising him for adopting chunks of migration from the 2015 UKIP manifesto. He once campaigned on a picket line for £15 an hour. He lied. He won't even support inflation-matching wage rises for the likes of nurses and teachers now. In fact, the one time he was honest was in an independent article last year where he said he's willing to break pledges to make Labour electable, because by that point he'd broken some and could prove it. How can you trust a man who positions himself like that on anything? He's consistently written in the Sun, of course, despite the hurt he knows it caused in Liverpool, because he acknowledged that hurt in a speech there when he was running for leader. But not only does he write for them, he shows up to their awards bashes as well, doesn't he? And even gets given gongs by other right-wing papers, like The Spectator, winning Politician of the Year from one of the most right-wing publications going, to the applause of an audience of Tories. He's breached the MP's code of conduct 8 times. He wouldn't be honest about who was funding his leadership campaign, because otherwise it would have become public knowledge he was being funded heavily by pro-apartheid Israel figures. He hasn't just been driving members away from Labour, not that he wants them anyway, having been purging the left like the clappers, making a lie of the old Labour is a broad church shtick, but Labour councillors across the country have too, unable to stomach the man's self-serving Tory-esque politics and underhanded shenanigans, and they've been on public show for a while now. He's tried to see off domestic violence survivor Apsana Begum from Parliament, looking to see her deselected, and where local politics has become so dirty and underhanded in her constituency, the attacks on her more vicious and more blatant, the support has become completely absent, even after she was hospitalised, such was the effect it has had on her health. Mr. Anti-Bullying still, as far as I'm aware, hasn't offered her solidarity once. His London region have attempted to see off MP of the Year Ian Byrne after they signed off on corrupt local trigger balloting, with the local North West representative appointed to do so refused due to the sheer number of allegations of misconduct. Now, Ian survived, of course, but others like Sam Tarry have been deselected in no less suspicious circumstances. He's interfered in candidate selections everywhere, determined to get his preferred candidates listed. And this is the biggest joke, where it comes to him making claims of restoring honesty to local politics, when he has more say over local candidacies than locals do. What he's actually done is promote authoritarianism on steroids, the latest example being the rerunning of the Uxbridge selection process for no other reason than the selected candidate, who happened to be the only local candidate, has been deemed not strong enough to take on Johnson, even though he supports Starmer. So not even loyalists in the party are safe, let alone the choices made by local members. We've all seen that video of activist Audrey White giving him a few home truths up in Merseyside. He soon had her thrown out of the party. He cannot cope with being criticised, and she was far from alone, using the excuse of people speaking to or being members of retrospectively prescribed groups, meaning he's expelled people for being in groups at a time it was fine for them to be so. He's so dishonest, roughly a third of his followers on Twitter are fake. How big of an egomaniac must you be to fake social media numbers? Just last week, he was talking about abolishing the House of Lords, as it should be. It's an appalling, archaic institution. But today he's changed his tune on that too, watering it down to a consultation instead. Keir Starmer runs a bastardised Red Tory shell of a Labour Party, which, as the results of the Labour Files reports have spoken out on, is rampant with racism of all kinds. Bullying, intimidation, corruption, attracting crony donors, including for the Tories themselves, driving trade union affiliates away along with members disgusted at what he's done to Labour, to what some people still mistakenly regard as opposition, and change to what we have now. Electing a Starmer-led government isn't getting rid of the Tories, it's just changing the faces of them. He supported them throughout the pandemic, supported the waste, supported keeping schools open, spreading the virus, supported budgets, supported Matt Hancock in the face of calls he'd be sacked for his mishandling of the pandemic and the crony contract he signed, yet will purge Labour members for retweeting Caroline Lucas. Even the awesome budget, as hard as it's going to be for so many now, as much as Rachel Reeves complained about them afterwards, they've still accepted the need for austerity again to fill that £55 billion black hole the Tories created that we had nothing to do with. We're copping the blame and the price tag, and it doesn't matter if the Tories in charge are led by Sunak or led by Starmer. It doesn't matter if they are blue Tories or red Tories, they will still be Tories, pushing Tory policy for the few, not the many, and nothing will change to improve the lives of ordinary working class people. If Keir Starmer wants to restore honesty to politics, he should resign. You absolutely cannot trust a single thing that man says.